Today, I want to address a conversation that I had with one of my cousins in Nigeria. We spoke briefly yesterday via Facebook Instant Messenger, and this is just an expansion of the conversation that we had, and hopefully I can address and answer, not address and answer, but expand on what we talked about. Before I go into that, let me go over the conversation that I had. He is currently in the process, so he's working on immigrating from Nigeria to Canada. And he reached out to me, just wanted to know how things are going with me here and the family's going, which I appreciated. And I just followed up with him, really interested in knowing how his plans with Canada is going. And he said that, well, I don't really know why Canadian migration is tough. I am in the United States of America. Canada is a neighbor, but I am pretty sure we share the same sort of immigration policies. So I can only address this based on my experience immigrating to the United States. So I asked him, how's Canada going? He said, I don't really know why Canadian migration is tough. My response to him was pandemic possibly. He said, yeah, and I said, or immigration reform, it's getting harder and harder to cross. And his response to me was why. I was so excited that I was finally going to leave Nigeria for a better opportunity out there. You know how hard it is, Rich. I said, I know, I lived and suffered there with you and everyone else. So I immigrated to the United States twice. The first time was 11. I was 11 years old going on 12. And then I was sent back by my father at 13 or 14. And spent 5 years in Nigeria, lived in the village. Went to boarding school out there. And then after high school, I spent another year in Lagos. And I came back to the United States at just right before my 19th birthday. April 15th, 1998 was when I returned to the United States. So in a nutshell, this conversation is essentially to address, so I guess to speak on my experience for those Nigerian citizens looking to immigrate to whether it's the United States or Canada or Europe. Are there opportunities? Absolutely. And I can speak on this because leaving Nigeria when I did essentially changed my life. But in addition to that, some of the decisions, I've also made some sound decisions along the way. When I came to the United States at 19, I lacked structure. Okay, so living in Nigeria and just throughout my childhood, bouncing around so much and so often. It's like today you're with your grandfather, the next day you're with your uncle, the next day you're with your mom and her husband. Like it was just always this constant just moving around. So I never felt like I had a home until I came to the United States and I made a decision that I wanted to go to college. And why did I make that decision that I wanted to go to college? Because I wanted to better my life. I always felt like education is key, education is critical. At least it's a huge and important foundation of getting yourself out of poverty and misfortune into a life of purpose. So one of the best decisions that I made was, number one, to identify what I wanted to do. So which is very important for you. If you're going to cross over or you're planning on immigrating out of Nigeria, I totally support it. But you have to have a plan. You have to plant your feet on the ground and know exactly why you are moving. So for me, aside from getting out of Nigeria and looking for a better life, now that I'm in the United States, what am I going to do? I made a decision to go to college. Okay? Now, once I've identified what I wanted to do, now I reverse engineered it. Like, okay, so how do I get to college? I remember so how do I get to college? So I remember bear with me here. So I remember going up to my dad and just had a frank exchange with him. Like, okay, I'm here in the United States now. What I want to do is go to college. And he said that, well, my father and I weren't really on great terms, just out of transparency. He said, well, if you want to go to college, you're just going to have to put yourself through college like I did. And walked away. So I had a job at the time working at Fry's Electronics. Fry's was a huge electronics chain that since gone out of business. Making $6.50 an hour. And I worked there as a merchandising coordinator, selling computer components and accessories. And just working there, I got exposed to other people my age, like people 18, 17, 19. And I remember having a conversation with one of my coworkers. You know, he was really curious about Nigeria, about my background and where I came from. And I just kept saying, you know what, I want to go to school. You know, how do I make this happen? And he said, you know what, I'm going into the Navy. And the I can go into the Navy, I can earn a living as a sailor, and I can get money from the Navy to go to college. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you necessarily, how true is that? Because in Nigeria, I wasn't exposed to opportunities like that. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you my number to my recruiter. He gave me the number to the recruiter. I called the Navy recruiter. I think the Navy recruiter did not answer the phone. So this was back in the days with the Yellow Pages. And they all advertised in the same section of the Yellow Pages. And so when the Navy guy didn't answer, I checked that off. And then the next thing that I saw was the Army. And I called the Army recruiter and I said, hey, my name is Richard Barricat. I'm 18 years old, okay? My name is Richard Barricat. I'm in the situation where I am, and I'm trying to go to college, and I hear that I can sign up for the Army, get training, work for the U.S. Armed Forces, and get XYZ amount of dollars to go to school. And he said, well, you're absolutely right. Where are you? He came in, he saw me, and just within 2 or 3 months, I was shipped out. You know, I had to take the ASVAB test, and within 2 to 3 months, I was shipped out as a soldier. That decision that I made changed my life. For the first time in my life, I had purpose. For the first time in my life, I had direction. It took me a minute to adjust to it, but I had purpose. I had someone pushing me. I had the wind behind me for the first time in my life. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is be 100% certain on why you are immigrating and what you are going to do when you land where you're going. Because there are so many stories out there of Nigerian citizens immigrating overseas and getting in trouble. They get them, they find themselves in situations where they are committing petty crimes and they end up getting deported. Or they get here and the America or the Canada that they thought it was isn't the reality of the move is different from what what they thought it was. Okay, because depending on where you are, humans can adapt, but you can find yourself, for instance, in the East Coast of America with 4 seasons where it's cold all the time. Are you going to be able to adjust or you're not? There's just so many elements, there's just so many variables that goes into whether you're going to be successful or not in the United States or Canada. So I really do encourage it. I am not going to discourage anyone from making the move, but also realize that we are also at a time now where technology has even the playing field. So a lot of Nigerians that I know that are in their late 30s or 40s are looking for ways to invest back home in Nigeria. Whether it's through property acquisition, real estate development, buying and selling land, or import and export, like we're doing, the opportunities are there, also there back home. Now, what has allowed me or my family to be able to do what we're doing right now is as a result of leaving Nigeria at a very early age, early on, and coming to America and making those decisions that I made along the way, which has allowed us to be in the position that we're in today, to reinvest our resources back home in Nigeria. So it's a two-way street. If we're successful in Nigeria, we are automatically successful in the United States. And if we're successful in the United States, we're automatically successful in Nigeria. So there's always a two-way street here. It's not like, oh, we're investing in Nigeria and the United States isn't benefiting. They are benefiting here because we're still paying taxes. And the Nigerian economy is benefiting because we get to buy goods and import it from Nigeria into the United States and put people to work. So, again, another factor to be considered too. Are you immigrating as individually or are you coming with a family? And by family, I mean, are you immigrating with your wife, your girlfriend, or your children? If you're doing the latter, it's even better. Because now you have that family support. You have that focus. You have that laser focus. You have your family in front of you to know that not only are you moving here for yourself, you're also enriching their lives. Maybe you're putting your child through middle school, kindergarten, or what have you. Once you have that family support, it makes it so much easier for you to adapt in the American society. But as a single person with no direction, what saved me, if it weren't for the fact that I joined the Army, I don't think I'll be in the position that I'm in right now. Because I was coming from a background of just utter instability. So really do consider it. Think about where you are in life. If you have transferable skill set, let's say you're in the technology sector, those skills are easily transferable here. Because in America, there's a huge lack of tech talent. But if you have nothing going on for yourself, no transferable skills in Nigeria, and you want to cross over to America or Canada or Europe, you might end up being a nuisance to the society there. It doesn't guarantee your success. So unless you have a strong career, strong vocational or technical skill set, trade, craft, or you're planning on immigrating for school, training, or college, it's probably advisable not to. It's probably better for you to stay in Nigeria. And I am just speaking from my own experience because I have seen people who've lived in America for decades and they have nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing to show for it. It's happened in my family. It's happened to people that I know. And you wonder, what went wrong? What happened? And it always comes down to, in my perspective, the choices and decisions that they've made all along. You have Africans leaving Africa, they live in certainty for uncertainty. They come in here with no papers. I mean, it may seem like a good idea, but if you don't have the proper documentation or legal documentation, America ends up being a nightmare. You're going to be walking in the underground where no one knows who you are. You are essentially working, when you don't have any documentation, you're essentially unprotected. So-called employers could take advantage of you. People could take advantage of you because you're not legal. Another thing too is, the moment that you are in a better position, or it's perceived that you're in a better position because you're in the United States, it tends to open up the floodgates of family, friends, and colleagues asking you for money. You also have to be disciplined enough to be able to say no to those people and be absolutely firm on that. Self-interest is not selfishness. So really keep that in mind. Have a why. Why are you leaving? The reason for leaving has to be beyond just, I'm looking for a better opportunity. There has to be a bigger purpose, because a better opportunity to me is just too broad. You have to narrow it down and be very specific on why you want to leave something, a certain environment of certainty, an environment of certainty, to an environment entirely different from the norm of what you're used to, because the cultural norms in America is entirely different from the cultural norms in Nigeria. Could you adapt? Absolutely. But you have to have a why you're leaving, and you also have to have a defined set of goals when you get here. Otherwise, you would just fall into the system, you fall into the trap, and you just end up working and working and working and sending money back home to people you don't need to be sending money back home to. Because I did it for 10 years. From 1998 to 2008, I did it for 10 years. Because I didn't have counsel. I didn't have someone to guide and motivate me, to tell me to go in this direction to save money. So instead of sending $100 home every month, $20 home every month to people, imagine if I would have saved that money, where I would be today. And I'm just sharing this out of experience. I'm sharing this because I've experienced everything that there is to experience when it comes to dealing with Nigeria and living in America. I've seen it all. There's nothing that I haven't seen, even till today. I'm 42, going on 43 years old. I don't even say no anymore. I just ignore. When I get that sob story from Nigeria, I just don't even respond. It's not because I don't have empathy. I empathize. I have 100% empathy for the stories that you hear. But I just have to stay the course. So it's just really important. If you have an opportunity to make a better life for yourself, if you feel deep down in your gut that you have absolutely exhausted everything in Nigeria and you have an opportunity to immigrate, and you feel deep down in your gut that that decision would improve your life, I'm definitely co-signing that. I am 100% for it. But in addition to that, you have to have a plan. When you get here, you have to have a plan when you get here. And you have to be focused. America has been great to me and my family. The benefits that I enjoy today was based on the decisions that I made 20 years ago. As a U.S. Army veteran, I enjoy healthcare benefits, expedited access at airports, discounts, just based on the decisions that I made to serve in the United States Armed Forces. So the benefits are abundant, the opportunities are there. But without direction and focus, and you also have to act and execute on your goals, you might end up just being a nuisance. And then there's just many of them. It's mind-boggling. Of Africans who come here and they're working 2-3 jobs with nothing to show for it.